I only know the melody of that song, not the words.
So high.
Sorry.
I pretty much only know that song, like, just from, like, the cultural zeitgeist, which means I only know that much, and then also from New Girl.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually know the song. It's just like...
Just the chorus. Right?
Yeah. She's so high.
Well, that was back in my day. I used to listen to a lot of those old 90 rocks or early 2000 rock songs. I have a whole playlist of, like, Third Eye Blind and Nickelback and stuff, and I'm sorry I said those on air.
I'm gonna stay over here.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. This is episode 36. We are doing a solo show and messing with the format, so it's going to feel a little bit different than maybe the average Janchi Show. But, you know, we're trying things out. You know, we're trying to evolve. We're trying to keep up with the times, as it were. So, holla at us on our socials if you like it or don't like it. By the way, my name is KJ. I am one of your hosts. With me is Nathan Novak and Patrick Aaronstrom.
I'm Novak. Actually, so that's funny. That I did have aliases apparently when I signed for my house. There was a little sheet that I had to sign that is like also known as, and one of them was Nowak. It was spelled incorrectly.
What?
Nowak, yeah, without the C. So...
Well, according to that one place that you went to get that food, you're Noak now.
And now legally, I have been known as that somewhere. It's really weird. I don't know.
Wow.
But not Novak, but Nowak. Yeah. So, but it's Nowak. That is me.
All right. Patrick, what does Janchi mean?
The definition that we choose to abide by for the show is feasting and celebrating together, celebrating our culture and our heritage, and also what it means to be adopted and adoptees in America. Korean adoptees specifically, I should say. So that is what that means to us.
Yeah, and Patrick is eating pizza, and I'm drinking maku, so we are currently feasting and celebrating, and Nathan is just trying to stay alive after getting vaccinated. Yeah.
and to be fair, we're mixing up our format here just because we're running out of snacks, too, so we need to, get some
I wouldn't say we're
that,
running
though.
out of snacks. Yeah. We're just trying to
Eating every
evolve.
Korean snack there is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we just need a snack sponsor again.
To all the sponsors who probably aren't listening to the show right now.
To all the sponsors we loved before.
Hey, we've had some
beat me
great
by
sponsors.
1 second.
So drinking this can of maku, thinking about our last episode when you shook it so hard, Patrick, that it exploded. This can says shake gently before opening. So, wow, bro.
I was gently shaking it. I just did it a bunch.
Yeah.
So
And then he was vigorously chugging it. So
yeah, I chugged both of them.
I mean, it's definitely I'm not a chugger, but it's definitely chuggable. It's smooth going down.
I won't say I was drunk, but I was kind of drunk.
You were definitely tipsy. You were
like
pretty far
I only
gone.
had 3 drinks. What is wrong with me?
if anyone saw our last episode, put it in our comments below if you think Patrick was drunk.
You don't have to,
Yeah.
but you can if you want.
But you definitely should just blast at
It was a good
Patrick in
time.
the world.
I enjoyed it.
That was a good time.
So as part of our solo show, part of what we're doing going forward, we want to continue to dig into what it means to be ethnically Korean, kind of explore our historical, cultural, ethnic heritage that way. So we're going to work our way through this book, Korean Culture Dictionary, written and compiled by Woo Sung Kang and Edward Leary. From kimchi to K-pop and K-drama cliches, everything about Korea explained. So, pretty excited about that. We've talked about names, and we talked about the flag. So this chapter section, I guess, is called "Do Koreans Speak Chinese or Japanese?" which I thought was an interesting question to open with because that's never a thing that I have thought. But I'm interested to hear y'all's takes. Was that ever a thing that you considered if Koreans speak other languages?
Nope. Granted, all languages come from another language, right? Or not? I guess mostly.
I mean, at some
Latin.
point there was an original language.
Right. Exactly. So, to assume that some of the languages have merged or taken stuff from other languages is, makes sense. But yeah, if you had asked me which one it came from more, Chinese or Japanese, I wouldn't be able to have told you. I would have guessed Chinese. But
Yeah, I would have never been able to guess the root of Korean or that it was really based in anything because I had no prior knowledge of, like, I'm one of those people that was like, oh, you're speaking Chinese when you're speaking Mandarin or potentially like Cantonese. Is that a dialect?
those are essentially the two. Yeah.
Or like
So I'm just like,
Vietnamese.
and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had no idea, and honestly, this book really, wouldn't even have thought to break it down the way that this book did. So, which I thought was really interesting.
I was reading one of the questions says, one of the sentences says, one of the most frequently asked questions I receive from foreign friends, other runners up are you from North or South Korea, and do you know karate? And when I said karate in my head, I was like, ugh. Like it just feels so white saying it like that. But then if I say karate, then I feel like Jeremy Jam, and I'm like, well, that's not good either. So
Karate.
like,
People weren't here
Jeremy,
for a Parks
you
and
just
Rec.
made-
See, he don't know. He don't know.
yeah, it's
though.
like Jeremy,
Nathan don't
you just
know.
made bad scrambled eggs on a hibachi grill and called it hibachi.
You just got jammed.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate when he says it. I hate when he says it. All right.
I jammed myself.
We're getting off topic.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyways, I just thought it was an interesting question. That's not a thing that I have ever thought, but it was an interesting. Like, I think the more interesting thing is like, why are Chinese characters seen everywhere in Korea, or kind of that stuff. And then it kind of after my readings, I think especially when my name was Kyoko, like I was like very interested because this also goes into the history of Hangul, which I think we've talked about a little bit on the show. Hangul is the name of the Korean alphabet and writing system. So yeah, but interested to hear. Well, yeah,
I was gonna say which wasn't developed until was it
1443.
Yeah, 1443. So that's pretty interesting.
Promulgated in 1446.
the great King Sejong Daewon.
Great.
I don't know what stuck out to you. What were you like most interested by? You're like, ooh, this factoid is fun, or whatever.
So the thing that was most stuck out to me was the fact that he created this the alphabet to be easily picked up on by anyone. And I'm like, because I was just like, what? And then the quote, I literally have it, I put a bracket around it and wrote WTF because it says, a wise man can acquaint himself with them before the morning is over, them being the Korean alphabet.
Characters, yeah.
Even a stupid man can learn them in the space of 10 days. And I'm like, man, what is less than stupid? Because
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
where I'm sitting at right now.
Well,
but I
you're
thought that
not
was
less
really
than
interesting.
stupid. You just have lots of extra trauma because they didn't know about adoption.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and they didn't have the internet back then and work and.
But yeah, I thought that
Pizza.
honestly though, that stuck out to me the most because it really actually, instead of like making me feel worse, it actually made me feel better because it's like, okay, this is something I should be able to pick up on. And so like realizing that, yeah, maybe like however it is related to trauma, like I can get past that. And if I can at least like compartmentalize that in the journey of learning the language, I can at least learn to read and write it, hopefully. As long, if I can't speak it, that's okay. But if I can at least read it, that's big time. At least go, especially if you go to Korea, I just want to be able to be like, hey, this is the correct room for the bathroom. Go here.
Well, you have to know what bathroom is in Korean.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can say it, but then
Well, no, if
Like,
I
if
can
I-
read it. No, I just need
Yeah.
to read it.
Yeah. If you can read it and you can just say 화장실, but you're like, what the f did I just say? It just says 화장실. Here's like, I don't know. That could mean bathroom. That could mean meat department. That could, who knows?
Okay, now I feel a little less secure about.
Well, I'm just saying. So when I went to
I get what you're
Korea,
saying.
I was at that level. I could read Hangul and like say it, but I was like, I have no vocabulary, so I'm just
Right.
speaking nonsense sounds. So unless it was like Konglish, and I was like, oh, pizza, that must be pizza, or chija is cheese, like chija pizza. And I'm like, all right, great, cheese pizza, I can do that, But like, yeah, unless it said McDonald's in Korean but English, but like I was like, I have no idea what I'm reading. So
Guys, my feet smell.
So KJ, I mean, you have the most knowledge in the language than of the three of us. How do you think it was when you started learning like the alphabet? I mean, just something as simple as the alphabet, because I tried to learn it and I memorized it once, but then I forgot it. And it's one of those things that you have to keep doing to memorize all the pieces. But how do you, what advice do you have, I guess, on memorizing the alphabet?
I mean, really, it's just repetition. I'm probably the worst person to ask about learning stuff because I learn things really quickly, and like learning comes pretty naturally to me. So I don't have all of the skills of someone who like has wrestled with it. Like I would be a terrible teacher because I'm like, well, like if this way doesn't work, then you can try this way, or if this way doesn't work, then you can try this way. I'm like, I don't know. It just works this way for me. Like for me, when I first learned Hangul, as it was being explained to me, like the consonants all kind of made sense because the way they're drawn is like kind of what your mouth or your tongue does. And I think that's why the quote exists, like a wise man can learn it in a morning, and even a foolish man can learn it in 10 days. Like that it is meant to be really intuitive. I will say the vowels regularly trip me up, and that is like even now, as familiar as I am, I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, like something about the consonants makes sense. Like if you think about like or nian or kia, I don't know. Like it just so like that's really unhelpful. But I think the main thing is repetition and staying immersed in it. And I say immersion, but like it doesn't have to be a lot of immersion. Like I think even just like if you were to practice the language and then just reading this book, like even the little bit of Korean that this book has, just forcing yourself to like, okay, this means kiak, or this means hyot, or this is, so it's like a K sound and an H sound or things like that. Like just the active process of like, I'm just going to try to keep remembering and like be gracious with myself. If I don't remember, I can always look it up. That's fine. But just that practice of like keeping it up is important until it kind of becomes a background thing. Yeah. So,
and I know we talked about it before in a few apps that we were using, like Drops has the repetition where you do daily activities, and it does a lot of repetition on words and syllables and consonants and vowels and stuff like that. So I thought that was very helpful. And I wish I could just remember to start doing that again, because it's something I do want to learn more. It's on my list. But I'm wondering too, being a musician, you have such a good ear. I wonder if it was easier for you to also hear the differences in tones and tonality, because that was one thing I think I have a pretty good ear too. But when I hear things like some of the vowels or the differences, like it's like wait, they sounded so similar or something. It was like really hard to distinguish those differences to me.
Yeah, I can't really hear the difference, and especially so there's like,
there goes my theory.
There's main vowels because it's not a tonal language really. It's tonal like English is tonal. It's like you can tell when somebody is asking a question, or you can tell when somebody's being sarcastic, but like the actual pronunciation doesn't depend on your tones. But so it's like, like my name Juntae has a specific vowel that creates that A sound, right? But that A sound is really common, and there's like 12 different ways to spell it. So it just depends on like, is it chue, like it, as the last name? Is it A as in e, which means like it's the thing that you add to say of something? Like there's just like so many different ways. Is it like daegu? Is it, to spell it? So you just like, I think you just kind of have to know. And that is a fact, like a byproduct of like be familiar with the language. But yeah, I was like, I have no idea. So I regularly get that sound wrong because there's 6 different ways to spell it, and you just got to know. So, it is what it is. But sometimes no, I don't think being a musician helps with the ear of it. I can just tell like when I sound dumb or not. So
same.
Patrick, yeah. I know you took a few classes, Patrick. Were you looking into doing it again?
Yeah, I definitely want to. Full disclosure, I took 0 classes. I went to the like the orientation, and I missed the first 2 because I was already gonna miss them, and like I felt like I was so far behind, and I just didn't have the appropriate time to devote to it. So I let them know. I was just like, hey, I really appreciate you letting me be in here, but I just don't have the time. And they were like, that's totally fine. If you want, you can stay on the email and we'll keep sending you the lessons and stuff. So it was really cool that they sent me all of that material. So now I have that to go in and kind of practice on my own through that. And I have the Talk to Me in Korean Volume 1 book that I got as a gift. And I have this book and I have you guys. So, well, I have KJ. And then Nathan's also there.
Say I'm not going to help you that much.
I will say there is a really great, if you're not an app like a visual learner or anything, if you need a more tactile way of learning the alphabet, there's a really great book by Talk to Me in Korean. It's called Hangul Master. And they have like graphs and charts and tables and things. And like, so they try to go and like explain it, but it has like practices. So like, just like in school, just like pre-created curriculum where you can go and just write like these are how you write the words and this is what the sounds are and things like that. So for people who need a different tact and they're like, an app would be nice, but I need something more old school or I just need something different, that kind of book, that resource is really great. That's Hangul Master by talktomeinkorean.com. So yeah, they're a great resource.
We need Katie from Tiger Boom Creative to come on and help us out with child level Korean language for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean that's where we all start is like, here's a language that I know nothing about, so I'm basically
Teach me
babbling.
like a 5-year-old.
Except like as adults, you don't have the fearlessness of just being like and like having another person try to figure that out for you.
What was that again?
You know, you're like, well, I don't want to sound like an idiot. You know, so yeah, if you're just like then. You know, okay. But like a baby doesn't have the shame or the anxiety of like, oh God, what if I sound like a baby? Because they are a baby. And so you're like, I'm just going to make sounds until I try to, you know, literally just figure it out. So be as fearless as a baby.
So if I learned at the same time, my 5-year-old, he would probably beat me and learn more quickly.
I mean, that's just a byproduct of brain development, bro.
Thanks.
I think he just...
I don't want to be ageist on the show. I'm just saying...
I think he just dug at you and your brain development.
I know, man. Hey, who gave my son his brain?
Your wife.
Yeah, he's already smarter than me. I already know that.
You know, something I thought that was interesting, kind of going back to what your first question that you had posed about the relationship between Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages, was the fact of how how Korean was very influenced by both, and not for good reasons, but because it was like you had to adapt because of occupation or because of like being kidnapped and trafficked across the borders and stuff. So I thought that was also very interesting, especially as I learned more about history and read on more about Japanese occupation, realizing it's like, oh, well, no wonder we and Koreans would speak a lot of Japanese, but also wanting to like come up with your own vernacular to separate yourself and differentiate yourself from the people that are oppressing you.
Yeah, that's tough. I appreciated this book posited Chinese. Like Chinese is the Latin of East Asia, you know,
right?
We're like that we have Latin in like random places that, you know, they add weight to certain things, or like there is kind of a gravity to Latin, and like that is kind of a root of English, but certainly a root of Spanish, Italian, Romanian, etc., French, etc. You know, that we all share that, and even in Japanese, like Chinese is still kind of a root language of that. But yeah, it's a really dark history to be like, well, when Japan occupied Korea, they forced everyone to learn Japanese and take Japanese names, and like even when Korea was freed of Japanese occupation, like they still kind of had to print newspapers in Japanese because nobody could read Korean because they didn't teach that, you know. But I love, like, I think my favorite thing about Hangul, the written system, is like Hangul is a language of rebellion, you know, like it is a language of like resistance, and like all of my favorite themes from Star Wars are Korean language. So I was like, yeah.
Wait, what?
You know, like the rebellion and the resistance, and like these freedom fighters and trying to overthrow this oppressive government or whatever. And like that is Hangul. Like it's baked into the history of that language.
I totally thought you were saying that there was Korean language in the Star Wars movies.
I definitely, I thought that, yeah.
I was like, really? Well, that's cool.
I mean, that would be dope, but no.
I will say, sidebar, everyone needs to watch Star Wars if they ever want to see how political systems fail. And then you can easily translate that over to our current political system.
And now on the Janchi Show, movie critiques.
It'll make sense. Oh, we're doing a Star Wars? All right,
I mean, I think we should do a Janchi Show watch along where you listen to the three of us watch a movie together and provide commentary. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Is that more like a
Hey, I
listen
still need to
along?
see Minari. That's
Well, I
still
mean,
on the
they
top
could
of my
watch the
list.
movie, like they could like time it out where they press play on our episode and play on the thing
that's
that
a
we're
good point.
watching. You know,
Like we're just
kind of like a Pink Floyd album. What?
we're producing
Okay, never mind.
commentary on the episode or on the movie.
Aged
I get
myself.
it. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
director's
exactly.
commentary or. I like it. I actually like that. We should do that.
like if we did that with like Minari, that'd be fun. You know,
Yeah.
or do that
Star Wars.
with Star Wars, or we did that with Lilo and Stitch, or
Oh yeah.
an episode of This Is. I'm not gonna do an episode of This Is Us. Because I'm not gonna watch enough This Is Us to like speak intelligently on that. So
We should do one on one of our own episodes.
Kind of
we
like
have commentary
Scrubs.
going over our episode where it's all.
That's
audio.
kind of funny, because Scrubs does that. You know, the fake doctors.
fake doctors. Yeah.
They're always going over their old episodes, and I find that
That's
amusing.
hilarious. All right, sorry to sidetrack us there with Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it is
and
what it
movie
is,
talk.
man.
That's
It's
the
a
Janchi
chill
Show.
episode. Chill-isode? No, I don't like it.
It's
Cut
a chill
that out.
episode.
Chill. We're still chill.
So the other reason I brought that up was because they
Wait, brought
talk
what up?
about the languages all being interconnected or having and being in relation to each other, because in the back half of the section it talks about a lot of Korean language or modern Koreans still utilizing Japanese in certain ways. Specifically, it talks about a whole section about K-pop. It's like, why are they doing that? It's like, well, not only is it, well, specifically it's like monetary, but also it allows them to broach a larger audience and still connect because music translates over. So I thought that was interesting too.
In that section, I was surprised about the population difference. That Korea is so much smaller than like the other two nations. So Korea, at the time of this book's publication, the population was just over 51 million compared to China, which is 1.4 billion, and Japan, which is 126.5 million. And I was like, I didn't realize that China was like so much smaller, or Korea was so much smaller than even Japan. You know, I was just like, dang, man.
Like geographically, it's smaller, right, than both of them, right? Or is it the same
mean,
size as
certainly.
Japan?
I don't know. It looks about the same size. Now
Yeah,
you're
I
making
don't
me
know.
want to go look at a map.
I'm gonna find out.
Square miles, kilometers, probably.
But I will say that one of the things that this made me realize, so in the Han lecture that Professor Michael Shin gives for the Korea Society, he talks about how Koreans are extremely proficient in information technology. So it really clicked when I was reading that, like why the language was made to be picked up so easily, and then how the language itself would then become the catalyst for like printing presses and like actual like cell phones and all that type of stuff. So I thought that was too interesting. TOO.
Well, and also that Korean literacy is stupid high.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
99% among males
yeah.
and 96 among females in 2002, ages 15 and up. I was like, that's ridiculous. That's so incredible. Also, I looked it up. Korea is 3.8 times smaller than Japan. So I guess that makes
Smaller.
sense. I don't know. I thought it was bigger, but also Japan being a bunch of islands, like once you clump it together, maybe that makes more sense. But
It's also split too. Like I would be wondering how accurate the numbers are for North Korea. Like are they
Right.
releasing accurate
Yeah.
data? It could be even less people, honestly. So
ugh, man. The more I read about Korean history, the more brokenhearted I get by that split along the parallel. What is it, 58, 51st?
I don't. I think it's a 51st.
Yeah, 50. Like that, like the splitting of that peninsula. Just like I don't know. When I was younger, I didn't even question it, and now, just digging in the history, I'm like, man, that's really tragic and sad, and what a bummer. So now I too dream of a unified peninsula, like Lane Kim from Gilmore Girls. I'm like, I feel more Korean in that sense. It's a deep cut for Gilmore Girls fans.
I liked it. Actually,
Like
I
a
didn't
real deep cut.
I had no feelings about it because I didn't know what you're talking about. Besides, it was from the Gilmore Girls.
You should watch it. It's good.
I've used to watch it like every so often. When I was in college, there was a group of my friends who were really into like One Tree Hill.
Not at all the same, bro.
Okay.
What?
But they were on the same
Interesting.
channel. So it was like, I think they were like stacked. I think they like ran fairly similar times.
So you just like, you finish up an episode
yeah.
of Gilmore Girls and then you wait for, I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately.
And then Smallville, we had also at the
Somebody say.
Smallville, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
Smallville is the best. I love
great
it.
show.
Yeah.
I love comics, so I gotta watch it. I forgot what we were talking about. I was gonna
Well,
say
Nathan
something
was
else, but I
about to
forgot.
jump in and you just
sorry.
steamrolled
You
him.
guys and your non sequiturs, you just keep going off on these like random TV shows, movies, Star Wars.
Sorry, Nathan.
It's fine. You lost me too. I did notice though, right after the section of the language, the next section is kimchi.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
So
The
we'll
Korean soul food.
yeah, we're circling all the way back to episode 1.
Which actually, okay, just because it worked out this way, Sarah bought kimchi from Target. That Soul
Yeah.
Kitchen kimchi, right?
Yeah.
I will say, not my favorite.
No.
It's good, but it is like extra pickly.
Yes.
And so like it doesn't have like the Korean. It's like, well, also she said she when it opened, it like bubbled out, like, and all
Yes.
the juices flowed out, which I think is a byproduct of like American packaging. And so like, cause it's like is it a sealed lid, Patrick? I didn't open it, so
it's
I don't know.
sealed.
Yeah, it should be.
So yeah. So I think that's like a byproduct of American patent that it's bubbled out like that. But like, yeah, it's like extra pickly, which is less than ideal, I think, for kimchi and stuff. So it's not bad, but it's not like the best, I'm gonna say. So yeah,
Patrick,
but I'm
how was-
excited. I mean, it was like, oh hey,
How was Jordan's kimchi? Have you finished all that?
Yeah, it was really good. No, it was probably one of the best kimchis I've had, and
Because
I haven't
Jordan
had like a
is
ton
listening.
of brands. I know, right? Haven't had a
yeah, it
ton
was.
of brands.
Wait, he's listening. Don't say anything bad. It was really good.
It was the best kimchi I've ever had.
I was thinking about when you brought that up that time my sister came on the show and was like, "Oh yeah, hey, fact check, bro. Remember where you tried kimchi and then it was a whole thing." I'm glad we haven't talked about it, but I'll bring it back up to self-deprecate
yeah.
myself.
good.
I will say though, Patrick, having
think I have,
had the
though.
Target kimchi, it is already small enough that you don't need to chop it. So that makes kimchi fried rice even easier.
There you go. There we go.
So you have
go.
very little excuse.
I did make a cold Thai noodle salad for lunch, and it's pretty good.
That's not the same as kimchi fried rice.
Well, I still need to visit the local H Mart here in Colorado and try out some of their options. So I will let you.
Do you
know.
have an H Mart near you?
Yeah, it's about 10 miles away, so not too bad.
Nice.
Yeah, I hear though that out here there's a huge. When I say huge, there's a huge Korean population in Aurora. Out here,
Weird.
They said there's approximately 3,500 Koreans over there. So
There you go.
I know there's probably a few adoptees in there too. I actually joined a new adoptee group on Facebook too for the Denver Boulder area. So hit me up if anybody's in the area and wants to join that.
You joined it or you started it yourself?
Joined it. Somebody else started it.
He's basically a founding member, though. He'll get that Facebook tag. Well, yeah, you should connect with what's her name, Shayna from Soul Conversation. Shanae from Soul Conversations.
Soul Conversations, yeah.
I don't know how to speak English now. But yeah, that's exciting, man.
Tell the people about your move. How is that going? Are you guys doing okay?
We are good. We're still
You're
in boxes.
in your own home now.
We are in our own home as of 3 days ago. We are to our necks in boxes still. I sold some boxes today, though, so that's good. Getting some of the stuff out of the house. And, just slowly unpacking and, getting things like window treatments and, landscaping quotes and childproofing quotes and all that fun stuff that costs too much. But
You got
Nice.
a childproof still?
so that's the thing. We were on the fence about that because our daughter still likes to go down the stairs, and so we still need some gates at the top of the stairs, but they're kind of awkward stairs because it's got like a banister. So yeah, they're just looking into some other options for safety because their rooms are so far away from our room. If she walks out of her room and just heads over this direction, she could fall down the stairs. So
You just get her one of those hermetically sealed balls, and then she could just roll.
Then she can just roll down the stairs. Yeah.
And it'll it'll be so it won't like throw her around. It'll be safe.
Bubble Boy. Speaking of movies, did you guys see Bubble Boy? That was a good one.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I was definitely too young for that movie, so I was like, "What is happening? I don't understand."
It's okay. So was Jake Gyllenhaal. He was pretty young in that too.
Right.
I
long time
literally
ago.
couldn't even tell you that was the person who was in it. I just was like, "This is a weird movie," and like for a while, because nobody talked about it, I was like, "Did I see this movie or was it a dream?" So, yeah, like that's how weird it was to my young child brain.
It's a very weird movie, but it was funny. Cool. Anything else about language? And we're not doing food other than you drinking by yourself and Patrick eating pizza.
I am
wearing
not by myself. Sarah is in the house. Y'all are on the Zoom call with me. I will not have you spread this crap about me. I don't even know what the word is.
Sorry.
The Maku hits hard.
He had to get you back for saying he didn't have a fully developed brain.
By the way, so the reason I'm not drinking the Maku is because we drank them all and because they were so good. My wife had the mango flavor, and she's like, "This
Mango is delicious."
She's like, "This." She's like, "You need to buy this." It's like, "I don't know where you found this." Well, I told her, "Well, we were given it, by the company." And she's like, "Then you need to find more because this is really good." So
That's the one I haven't tried yet.
She's never
Mango
said that
is-
to me
yeah.
about an alcohol before, like never.
Oh,
so I
interesting.
was like, "Well, she
Hi,
must
Marks.
really like this." So
Yeah.
I need to go find some now, and I'll check out the H Mart. I think they said they have some there. So
Yeah, well, and if they don't, you can order it from Craft Beer Kings
online.
until they get their own shipping. So, yeah, that's super exciting. I've now had all of them. I think passion fruit might have been my favorite. Mango, I know I said this about the lunar, where like I need a flavor to like slap me in the face, but like mango, like that was definitely the flavor that did it for me. It was really good, but I think passion fruit, their new flavor, is my favorite. Blueberry was okay, like it's good, but like after the mango, like I think everything else. So I'm glad that I drank it in the way that it did. And then the original Maku flavor, not my favorite, but I was like, it's important for me to know like what it's based on, but I see like why it takes the flavoring so well. And I think in that sense, like it makes sense that makgeolli is Korea's oldest, most traditional alcoholic drink because it does soak in flavor so well, and it is a rice drink and, fermented rice alcohol, whatever. And then, so I think it makes sense. And
that was really probably the opposite direction you should have gone. You should have tried the original first and then tried the other ones. Because if you try the sweet ones and you're expecting the original to be just as sweet, and it's not.
No, I definitely did not expect it to be just as sweet. But I was like, because I didn't know like anything about makgeolli, I was like, what am I even getting?
Did you pour any out into a cup or anything? Because I was only drinking out of the can, but I know that the regular makgeollis in the bottles, is just, it's, some people don't like it because it looks cloudy. But
I mean, you can tell looking into it that it is a cloudy thing. Although I will say mango was like orange, and I was like, oh,
see, I
interesting. I
didn't
didn't even
out.
look in the can for blueberry. Passion fruit
it was
wasn't orange.
probably
but
blue.
I don't know that
I think it was like
actually.
a purplish color.
Oh, okay.
Was it? No,
I don't know.
can't see.
I liked passion fruit too because I think when I chugged it, it overpowered my palate, and the blueberry tasted like passion fruit. So, what are you doing? Just spit it out.
I put a little bit on my tongue, and then I cupped my tongue to try to see it, and I don't
Spit
think it's
it
a
out
color.
at your camera.
No,
and
I'm
we'll
not.
See if we can see what
That's
it
what pop filters are for. Is just to catch all the spittle before it hits the mic, right?
spit over the pop filter.
Gross.
It's not
Gross.
great.
So here's the deal, Janchi people. Unless you hate this format, what I think we will do is we will release a solo show every other week, and it'll just be, for right now, it'll be a book club of going through Korean Culture Dictionary. So it'll just kind of be us going through that, and then every other week that's not a solo show, we'll have our regular Janchi show with an interview and food and all of that business. So that is our plan, yes? I'm looking at our
I mean, I
co-hosts 'cause
definitely thought we were
actually-
going to do that. I definitely thought we were
We
doing that
are.
in May for Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Yeah, I'm sure we can come up with other topics in addition to the book as well. But yeah, our solo shows are typically like this. It's just us being the Janchi Boys.
Just us
So,
being friends, and
Just
you
us
are
talking.
also our friend
and
hanging
you guys
out
are
with
listening.
us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I should get a medal for having sat here to record this because my socks are off and my feet smell horrible.
That's
And
disgusting.
It's a horrible smell.
And
but,
on that note,
you know, I had a great episode. This was a great recording, and I'm going to put socks on after this. But they just
You're
smell
ridiculous.
so bad, I had to tell you guys.
please give this episode a like if you want Patrick to go shower.
What?
And
It's not my whole body. It's just my feet.
it's creeping up. Show's
Well,
going downhill.
Well, you can find us on all the social media platforms at Janchi Show. You can send us an email at Janchi or to JanchiShow at justlikemedia.com. Go to JanchiShow.com/afterparty to join us on Facebook. Go to JanchiShow.com/support or /store to
no,
support
it's
us.
/shop.
Shop.
Look, here's the
I
deal.
just looked at it on the show
Your feet
notes.
smell so
I
bad, you don't
literally
even
just
remember.
looked at it on the show notes.
I'm
too.
gonna update /support so that it's better, and you
just
can
make it all
like,
the same.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess
exactly.
it's not all
Yeah.
the same.
So
We're coming out with some more merchandise, so we have seen a few people getting their stickers and cups and stuff. We might revise our cup a little bit, so if anybody wants to wait
look,
for
we
that.
didn't start a podcast to get into the merchandise game. Okay, so
It's
that's
not
just
our
where we
forte.
are.
Cool. You can find me at Patrick in the World on Instagram. I will say I'm taking a bit of a hiatus on doing stuff on social media. I'm still doing certain things on Clubhouse, but for the sake of my own mental health and well-being, I've needed to take a little bit of a break. So if I don't respond to your messages, if you do message me, I will get to them because I still check sometimes on my computer, but that's why I have not been so active. But you can find me there. You can find me on Clubhouse at P Armstrong as well.
Or if you just want to send a message to the Janchi Show Instagram, we'll pass it along for Patrick.
Yeah. You can also text me at 555-555-0123.
55.
8675309.
What is that from?
A
from a
song
song.
from the 80s.
Oh, this is a
That's
normal.
what the song title's called.
No. I thought that was I thought that was a jingle, like for a company. I forgot that
They
that was
used
an
it on a
actual-
commercial. I can't remember what the. It
Yeah,
was for a
I don't
product,
remember.
but I
Yeah,
can't
it was like
remember what it was for.
somebody referenced that, and it was really funny. But yeah.
I want to say it was like a cleaning product.
You guys.
Yeah,
You're
We're
so
off
young,
again.
so
We went off
young.
again.
Whatever.
Somebody help me.
You can find me at KJ Relke on Instagram and Twitter. And if you can spell my Korean name, you can find me on TikTok. I haven't done much, but I am technically there. You can also find me as KJ Relke on any music streaming platform. I've released some music there if you want to listen to that. Or if you want to help diversify my Facebook, add me on Facebook. Or not, whatever.
You can also find me on TikTok, but it's just my kids dancing.
Heyo.
On Instagram, I am nnowalk, my personal, or Nowalk photo for my photo stuff.
KJ, that's the first time you haven't said you can find me wherever I want to be found on the internet.
I
It's the
know,
first
because
time
I was like, oh, what if people don't even know where I want to be found?
Maybe he's opening up.
So I'm
Maybe
just,
he wants to be
I'll
found
probably
now.
go back to that next week, but I just was like, you know what? If you
Find
want to
me.
find me and you're like, where do I find at KJ Relke, wherever he wants to be found? And, if you're not willing to do the work, here's a freebie episode for you. Next week, it's back to doing the work yourself, you fools.
If you've made it this far to the end through our wild tangents.
Yep.
But all right.
This is the Janchi Show Unplugged. Thanks for listening. We will see you
Ooh.
next week.
Plug us
Janchi,
in.
heyo.
Goodbye.
You know what's ridiculous? I will say, I actually legitimately never know what key that's in, even though I wrote it, because I don't listen to it enough. So I can't just I can't find the pitch. So every time I try to go in with like a ba ba ba, I'm like, is that right? Is that wrong? But then it never comes in the right way, and so then it just
I think you're a little too high.
clashes. It clashes with the actual track, and I'm like, well, I can't keep this in, but this time I'm gonna keep it in. Ba 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 ba.
Little bonus for everybody.
I think that's right. I don't know.